I'm saying hello today on February 9th, 2010, roughly 4 p.m. There's some musicians walking across the highway. Look at that. I'm here in a van right now with a local expert by the name of Jose Orozco. He's right here. And Jose is actually a very interesting individual who is an expert, a local tour guide, as well as an expert on relocation. He has worked with a number of Canadians and Americans that have relocated from the cold winter weather to a very popular place here that is called Lake Chapala, which has one of the world's most favorable climates, and as a matter of fact that's where we're going right now, Lake Chapala. And Jose has worked with a number of people from the US and Canada who have moved there. Can you tell me a little bit about your relocation services, Jose?
Well, you know, I started exporting furniture and pottery all over the world, so that's how I started in that business. And then I decided to change a little bit. So I've been helping people, you know, they move here or they're buying homes and condos for either to move here or to spend about 6 months in the area. And they really love the Chapala area because, you know, the weather is very nice. It's got one of the best weathers in all over the world, and it's close to the airport, close to the city. And once you get there, you can see they just have a good life.
Mm-hmm. It's funny that you mentioned that, Jose, because yesterday I actually I went to Guadalajara, to the big city of Guadalajara, which is the second largest city in Mexico, and I took one of those double-decker tour buses. And in the tour bus I ran into 3 Americans that were retirement age, and one of those gentlemen from New Orleans had just retired a year and a half ago, and he had bought a house in Lake Chapala in Ajijic, and he absolutely loved it. He was talking to me for an hour and a half during the double-decker bus ride, doing the sightseeing tour in Guadalajara, about Lake Chapala. And he lives somewhere, I can't remember, between Ajijic and some other town, and he said he just loves it. And what is it that people really like so much, particularly about the town of Ajijic? And what other town do we have that people really gravitate towards?
Well, there's also Tlaquepaque in between both. There's some very nice areas, and they're building a lot right there.
Oh yeah? So new construction is going on.
That's another plus, you know.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. Good safety.
Good restaurants. And being close to that big lake, which is the biggest lake in Mexico, second biggest lake in Latin America.
Oh yeah?
You feel like you're on the beach.
Yes.
Without the humidity and without the heat.
Oh, that's great.
I would say that's one of the advantages. Because it never gets that hot. So they love the weather.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I think they fall in love.
Well, it's certainly important for us Canadians because it is so freezing up there in the winter. The winter is so long. And that's one of the reasons actually I'm going on this excursion to Lake Chapala, because the topic of retiring abroad is a topic that has fascinated me for a long time. Unfortunately, personally, I'm a little bit far away from retirement age for now, but the thought of actually spending maybe a month or 2 in a warm place in the winter is definitely becoming more attractive the older I get, because the winter in Canada is getting rather harsh. And you were saying, Jose, that in Lake Chapala, for example, even if somebody doesn't want to live there permanently, it's relatively affordable. How much would it cost, for example, for somebody to spend a month in Lake Chapala?
Well, I got this lady telling me that she was renting a home 3 blocks from the lake, which is a very good location in Ajijic town. Before that, let me tell you that this town, Ajijic, Chapala, Tlaquepaque, they still very Mexican, you know.
Yes, very authentic.
They have a lot of foreign people living there, but the look is very Mexican, lots of colors, and
so it's not it's not a fake community of expatriates. It still has that Mexican feeling to it.
Exactly. So it's not. And back into your question is that this lady, her mother used to live there. She passed away, so she's renting the house. It's a 2-bedroom house. Like I said, 3 blocks away from the lake, which is a very good location. And and she was asking $400 US.
For a whole month.
Mm-hmm.
That is incredible. So, and that's what the gentleman indicated to me yesterday, is that the cost of living is very reasonable. Even if you purchase a home, the taxes and the cost of living, and there's no heating, there's no air conditioning, right?
Exactly.
You don't really need either one of them.
Yeah, your electricity bills are not that huge.
Okay. So it's obviously a very favorable area from that point of view. How big, for example, is the community of Ajijic? Do you have an idea roughly?
Well, I have an idea for the Canadians and Americans living there. It's about 50,000 people.
50,000?
50,000.
Are you kidding me? That's huge.
Yeah, and it keeps growing.
Yeah? Yeah, because there's another place in Mexico that's called San Miguel de Allende that has become like a real retirement capital in Mexico, but now I think Lake Chapala is catching up, right?
Yes, and San Miguel Allende is beautiful, but I think it's the location for Lake Chapala is a lot better.
Yes.
It's closer to the second largest city in Mexico, and I think things are cheaper down here than in San Miguel Allende.
Than in San Miguel, because San Miguel has been an expatriate enclave for decades now, actually, and Chapala, I think, is much more recent now. Well, wonderful. Thank you for giving us a great introduction to your relocation services. You help people with anything from moving to purchasing furniture to helping out with real estate needs, renting or buying properties.
That's right.
You also help them, I believe, with immigration papers and legalities.
Yes.
You can connect them with the right people and help them with the right paperwork, because that's also very important to make sure that if you do relocate, that you do have the right and proper paperwork in place, because you don't want to get into any kind of complications. What we'll do in the next clip is we'll talk a little bit about your tour guiding services.
All right.
And some of the tourism related services that you provide. Thank you so much, Jose.
You're very welcome.
Great.